visits, when sometimes counseling and talking to a patient is far more important than getting little piddly pieces of physical exam. So that's not so easy all the time, but it does help in creating a structure around your patient visits so that you can do things efficiently in a timely manner, not miss diagnoses, and think about how much brain power did I have to use on this visit. And for me, brain power translates into your medical decision making. How difficult was it, or how dangerous is this situation? That's going to translate into your medical decision making or complexity of the visit, which is weighted heavier than any of the other pieces of your chart note by the insurance company. The other piece that's not so fair in this is how it's applied by the insurance companies. Like I just said, they like to weight, even though it's 3 different pieces of your chart note that they're looking for to create a code: your history, the physical, and the medical decision making or complexity. They always seem to weight the medical decision making heavier than the other 2 portions. So as soon as we understand that and accept it, then we can juggle our patient visits knowing and thinking about complexity as the most important piece, and then we need to hit the bullet points on the other 2 pieces in our charting. And I always like to say, you know, being a doctor is a job. And when I teach students, there's a lot of great things about being a doctor. We can often make our own schedules. It's a lifestyle. It's something we love doing. We want to help people. And then there's the job part of it. And this is the job part, the paperwork and the following rules that we didn't write and all of that other piece. That's not so much fun. But if you understand the general overarching principles and make it work for you, then it doesn't have to be such a headache. So to get to those 3 elements: history of present illness, physical exam, and medical decision making. I put their abbreviations there. That's what I'll probably call them the rest of the evening. And the medical decision making is always weighted more than the other 2 when it comes to the practical application of the guidelines. When I've helped someone through an audit with an insurance company, or I've spoken to auditors, they can't help themselves but always weight the medical decision making. What do I mean by that? If you have done a complete history and a complete physical, and you only diagnose the person with a cold or an upper respiratory infection, that's a self-limited condition, probably viral. They're going to get well anyway. It's low complexity. So even though you did the full physical and the full history, you didn't really have to do all of those things for a low complexity, self-resolving condition. So they're going to oftentimes down code that, meaning if you build a 99215 or a 99214, they're probably automatically going to knock it down to a 99213, a more moderate or low complexity visit, because it's a cold. They were going to get well whether they came to the doctor or not, typically, unless they have asthma or other conditions. So that's what I mean by weighting the medical decision making. So we just want to keep that in mind. If you use time as your basis of coding, which we'll get into that piece as well, even though the rule exists that you spend greater than 50% of the time in counseling, then you can use time as your deciding factor in your code. In reality, what I've seen is if you're skipping any or all of the above 3 elements, history, physical, or medical decision making, they will again not deny the whole claim, but they will downcode. So let's say you do a 30-minute visit, you say 15 minutes was in counseling, so you bill a 99214, but you have very little history,